Okay, you see that stereo over there? Yeah, that's not mine. That's my dad's. I'm not that old, I promise you.
Let's talk about how we want to build our story.
Think about why
It's a
you made
simple
because
choice.
usually the
It's gonna be
first
because
thing
always
they want to know
consistently
why you're sitting in that chair is another essential
So
part.
everything you can use quantitative.
Did we actually do
I'm
research,
sure what
or
we did
just
was more
let's see what
impressive
we
than
got?
that. So we need to say that better.
Welcome to Peer to Peer. You'll notice that I'm in casual clothes today because it's a casual video. Today we're talking about success stories from your fellow peers. Part of why we call this peer to peer is because we want you to hear from your other peers who have already succeeded, and that way it'll help you to succeed. So today we're going to highlight success stories from other peers. I'm going to go through a few examples of people who have already been through the interview process, have secured an offer, and they're going to tell us about kind of some of the struggles they've had and kind of what they ran into along the way. That way you'll know the real deal from your fellow peers about the interview process. Okay, let's get started. This first story comes from CA, who secured an offer with a tech startup. CA describes the interview process as a little informal, but the more proactive you are, the better you're going to be. I would definitely agree with that. One of the most memorable questions they had was the time that they had to handle a group situation or manage team conflict. Doesn't that sound familiar?
Tell me about a time where you had to work on a team and things didn't go as planned. How did you handle it?
The advice that they would give for other peers is go where you should be, not where anyone thinks you should be. I definitely agree with that. I think that's great advice. Thank you, CA. This next one comes from a guy who wanted to remain anonymous, so we will give him the name Chad. His process from start to finish: resume, networking event, 2 first round interviews, 1 technical and 1 behavioral, and then 2 final round interviews, and then an offer. That sounds like a lot. Kudos for getting through all of that. The hardest question he got was, what are his career goals in the next 5 to 10 years? Finally, the advice he would give to other peers is to practice, practice, practice. Go through mock interviews, research your questions, remember to use the STAR method. I completely agree, and remember, there's going to be a video on the STAR method as well. This next one comes from Delilah, who accepted an offer with SCAD. Her interview process went like this. She went to a career fair, they passed on her information, then she got a phone interview, in-person interview, and then the offer. Now, she says her hardest question was, would you be willing to relocate? Because she didn't want to. This is a pretty good question because some people are comfortable with that and others aren't. Another important thing she mentions is that if she were to do it all over again, she would probably negotiate more. Delilah's advice for other peers is don't just accept a company because they offer you something. Hold out for the one that fits your needs and desires. That's great advice. That's really great advice. Some of you guys might be lucky enough to get more than one offer, but make sure that that one is the one that you want because you're going to be spending time with them. Remember, the interview is a 2-way process. You're interviewing them as well, seeing if that's the best company for you. Thank you, Delilah. This next one comes from Madison, who secured an offer in finance. She says her interview process went like this. She dropped in her resume, then she got a phone interview. Then later on, she was flown out and had a super day of 4 interviews. Then she got the offer just 24 hours later. God, that sounds exhausting, but good job. She says the hardest question she encountered was, should her company go into the wearables industry? Oh wow, that's interesting. The advice that Madison would give her other peers is to not lock yourself in a box. Focus on the skill set that you want to develop and be open to learning about many opportunities. Yep. There you have it for this month's success stories. Thank you so much to those who've highlighted their interview process. Next month, we'll do some other success stories as well. Now, I want to hear from you guys as well. Let's do this. Leave a comment below talking about the one thing that you really struggle on in your interview process. It could be anything from rambling on in a question that's asked to a certain question that throws you off to eye contact and so on and so forth. Thank you guys for watching this video. As always, be sure to subscribe and hit the like button below to get more great interview content. For the people, peace.